Is geometry section 1.7, page 67, transformations in a plane. So we are talking about transformations, T-R-A-N-S-F-O-R-M-A-T-I-O-N-S. And the three that we're going to talk about today all have isometry. Isometry is that when you transform them, they have the same size. So whatever they began with, they ended in the same size. And we're going to talk about moving a pre-image to an image. That's what we're talking about. So the first one is called a pre-image. The second one is called an image. Okay?
Yeah.
Here's your three transformations that we're going to talk about. The first one is a translation. And that is a slide. And whatever the pre-image, the size of the pre-image, that's the size of the image. Okay? The second one is called a reflection. A reflection is a little different. It is a flip. So even though it has the same side, its orientation is the opposite of what the answer is. And I'll show you that in a minute. And the third one is a rotation. It's the hardest to remember. Sometimes it's the hardest to recognize. But this is a turn. On our rotations, I believe we're going to rotate, if I remember right, I think it's 90, 180, and 270. Yes, those three rotations. They have examples on page 67. On page 67, they talk about a reflection is a flip over a line, a translation is simply a slide, and a rotation is a spin there. So these are the three that we're talking about. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each one. You've had them before, so they should just be kind of a little bit of review. Okay, so if you'll get out your whiteboard, we're going to start with a triangle. I think the triangle is the easiest one to do. Okay, so we're going to begin with it. So I'm going to pick some points. We're going to go A is a -2, 3. B is a -4, a -1, and let's go. C is 0, -3. Okay, we look at that triangle. So A is a -2, 3, B is a -4, -1, and C is 0, 3. Would you please graph those 3 points? I might change one to get a better effect here. Here's A. B is a -4, a -1, so here's B, and then C is 0, -3, so here's C. So if I connect it, it looks something like this. So once you do that, okay, we'll okay, I want to tell you a couple things about rotation. It's when we turn it, it's around the origin. And in this book, it's counterclockwise always. So I should have told you that from the beginning. All right. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about a translation. This book, by the way, this is it'll just say translation, but they'll use a vector. All right? This triangle is called the pre-image. Okay? So I'm going to start with a translation first. And a translation, we're going to use this vector. 3, 2. All right? 3, 2. All right? We're going to use that translation. Now, this is how we write a vector. It looks like the less than sign, then 3, 2, and the greater than sign. It's really an ordered pair that has those two symbols around it. What that tells me is I'm going to move it 3 to the right and 2 up. If one of them's negative, then that changes, you know. We go left or down depending on which one's negative. All right? So, on this GG, I'm going to take each point and I'm going to slide them 3 to the right and 2 up. Does that make sense? So I'm going to go 3 to the right, 2 up. This we call A prime. I don't know if you can see that. A prime, it has one little mark on it. Right? Can't see the blue?
No, you can't really see the graph.
Can you?
Oh yeah, I can see. Like,
can you?
Oh, you're talking about on the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like.
Okay. All right. Then B, we're going to go 3, 2 also. So we're going to go, we're going to take B and go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So B prime ends up here. We call it B prime.
Boom.
Okay? B prime. And then C prime is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It's C prime. All right? So our new translation is this triangle. A prime, B prime, C prime. And that is the image of the pre-image. Questions? That's a translation. All right? That's a translation. Any questions? Do you understand a translation? Do you understand the vector of which we translate it? Okay. All right, so I'm going to, well, we can do let's go ahead and do a reflection. We'll do it in red. Okay? Now, we're going to do 2 kinds of reflections. Actually, there's more than 2. We can reflect it over a diagonal. We can reflect it over a horizontal line or a vertical line, but we're going to reflect over the X and Y axis. We're going to reflect over the X and Y axis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this blue. Would you erase yours? Leave the original triangle.
Oh.
Leave the original triangle. And we're going to work on a reflection. We're going to reflect over the X-axis and the Y-axis. Okay, I'm going to reflect over the Y-axis with blue. Okay, blue. All right, can she see this?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what am I, could she see that too while I was writing?
No, I can see it.
Okay, I'm going to reflect over the Y-axis first. All right. So the Y-axis is right here, correct?
Yep.
So what I do to reflect over the Y-axis, anybody remember?
Yeah.
Dawson?
So however far it is from the y-axis, like A, you go 1, 2, and then from the other side you go 1, 2 to the right from the.
All right,
Yep.
so we go to it, that direction, that space, and then away from it, the same space. So we go to it and away from it. So this is A prime. Oh, and it could
It's a
be
butterfly.
And then B, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 away. 1, 2, 3, 4. B prime. And then C is right on, so it stays, right?
Yep.
Okay, and so, bless you, it looks like this.
Do you mark it C
C,
prime?
yeah, you actually mark it C and C prime. It's actually the same point. Do you have a question, Gigi? Okay. All right, so now I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to do the x-axis in red. You can erase it if you want, or you can switch to somebody that has a different color, or you can just leave it the same. I don't care. It's up to you. All right? That was reluctantly, Jaws, that you changed there. It was like, okay. All right. Okay, now we're going to go across the x-axis. The same thing. I take each point, and I go to the x-axis though. I'm not going to the y, and so I go 3 to the x-axis, 3 away to the x-axis.
Would it still be A1?
It would be A double prime. There's 2 little marks, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2. I went right here, 1, 2, 3, Harper.
No, I'm not talking about that.
And then 1, 2, 3 here. What are you talking about?
B.
Okay, so B, now B's on the other side, so we go to the exit and then we go one up. It just goes the opposite way.
Okay.
And then C is here, we go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. C goes here, double prime, and you have this. And so you actually have a reflected triangle that is in the middle of your original triangle.
So that's pretty much just flipped upside down.
Yes, they're both flipped. Yes.
So what you want to see is like colored pencils when we do this on it.
If so, a lot of times they won't match. You know, they'll be off. But if they do, you can if you want. Yes.
Instead of like counting it, couldn't you just look at the y?
And keep going.
Yeah, just look at the y and the point, and then that would be for the x-axis one.
Yes. So like we'll do the red one, but they have the same x, but they have opposite y's, right? And then for the x, they have the same y, but they have opposite x's. Yes, that is true.
Oh, that's way confusing.
Yeah. Well, it confuses me. I just like to, you know, right? Okay. So I'm gonna now. What I want you to do is erase. Try to keep the original. You may have to redraw it. Redraw it. Redrew it.
Just right.
You want to, Jaws, put her back on here. Okay, the next is going to be a rotation. And it's the hardest because you have to remember stuff. Okay? And remember, the first thing you have to remember is that we go counterclockwise. So when we rotate, clockwise is this way, right? Clockwise this way, so we're rotating this way. We're rotating this way. Okay? So there's a little chart on page 70 that tells you if x and y is your coordinate, a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation is a negative yx. And I believe I have these on the, I'll check, but I believe I have these on the test if I use them. A negative yx. A 180 is a negative x, a negative y, which makes sense because it's just the opposite of both because you're just spinning 180 degrees. And then a 270 is y and negative x. So just to reiterate, what happens with the 90 is,
Why is your y first?
because when you do it, you flips the points of the triangle so that the y becomes here, it becomes the opposite of what it was, and the x moves here. That's just the points, and I'll show you here, okay, with A. So unlike a translation and a reflection, where you kind of just count over or just flip it, move over, you know, this one you actually have to do some calculations with the ordered pairs. So we're going to start with A. A is a negative 2, 3. Okay, so just to keep it in our chart, if I go with A, if I was to do a 90-degree rotation,
Positive.
it would be, I'm going to move the y here, so it'd be 3, and I make it the opposite of what it was. Okay?
Negative 3, negative 2.
So it'd be a negative 3, and the negative 2 stays the same as it was. Right? Alright, so let's do B, and then we'll come back and do a different rotation. B, which is a negative 4, a negative 1, it would be, I'm going to move the y to the x, right, in the place, and I'm going to change it so it becomes a positive 1 and a negative 4. The x stays the same. Kyle, are you understanding this?
For 180? Oh no,
No,
sorry,
no.
sorry.
I'm still on 90. I haven't moved.
You're just flipping
I'm
it.
just doing what this tells me to do. I'm moving the y to the x spot, changing the sign of it, and leaving the x in the y spot the same as it is.
Okay.
Alright, so C is 0 and -3, so I'm going to move the -3 to the y spot, make it positive, and then 0 ends up being the same. Now let me show you what it looks like. A is a -3, a -2.
Holy cow.
B is 1 and -4. And C is 3, 0. So what it's doing is it's rotating this way. It's rotating this way. Yes.
Can I get a different marker? This one isn't working.
Yes.
Yeah, go throw them away and get new ones. Oh, I might be running out. So
This one's like greasy.
Oh, I
It's
forgot.
weird.
This one we go like just right.
No, that's not what it's-
make sure you throw the correct one away. Okay. Now we're going to work on the 181. Okay? The 181 is, I leave them the same, I just change their signs.
Oh, so. +2, -3.
Positive 2, -3. Yes?
I was gonna ask something about graphing.
Uh-huh.
When we graph the 180, would we do, instead of a 1, would we put 2? Like,
If this one's still on there, yes. I'm gonna erase it. I'm gonna erase it before I do it, so I will just use prime. Okay? Alright? So this one, Kyle,
Yeah.
Kyle?
-1.
Oh, I'm gonna go with this one, sorry.
Oh, 4, 1.
4, 1. And this one, Joss?
0, 3.
Okay. Now, what Delaney asked was, if we leave, what?
Carly.
Or Carly, sorry. That had to hurt. If I leave this blue one on, then I want to double prime it and triple prime it.
Wouldn't it be negative?
It would be 0, 3. It's the
Yeah, no,
opposite.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You can't have a -0.
I got that.
Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to put the 180 on here. So I'm going to go 2, a -3. So 1, 2, a -3 is A prime. B prime is 4, 1.
Below.
And C prime is 0, 3. So it looks like this.
It looks like you're just moving it over.
Yeah, it actually, yeah, and it almost can fool you for a reflection, except for on a reflection, these would be the same, right? And then this would be over here, right?
Translation to the right would be the same objective. Oh, second one.
Okay, the last one. All right, A is we switch the Y, and it becomes, it's the same Y. So this is 3, this is 3. And the X moves to the Y and it switches its sign. Let me say that again. I move the Y to the front, to the X spot. I leave it alone, and then I move the X to the Y spot, but I change its sign.
Yep.
So let's do this one. I move the -1 to the X spot, I leave it alone. I move the -4 and I change its sign. I do the same with him. -3 and 0 is just 0. Okay? So I'm going to erase this one again. Well, actually, since this one's not involved, I might just do a double prime on this. Is that all right?
Yep.
Do a different color. So I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 is A prime, double prime. I'm going to do a -1, 4. I'm going to do a B double prime, and then C is a -3, 0. C double prime, so it looks like this. Oh, I missed that spot.
Vector.
And that's what it looks like.
So,
So if I'd had all three on there, I'd have done a triple prime and it would look kind of cool.
square.
It would have a pattern to it, yes. Yeah. Okay? Yes, sir.
I'm like confused on what makes the numbers negative and like positive.
Well, you mean you're confused on the rules or why it is?
Like the rules kind of like. So like you on A you have -2, 3, and then I know that you switch because it's Y and then X,
Uh-huh.
but
This means that I move the y to the x spot and I make it the opposite of whatever it is. A negative means the opposite. So if I move the 3 to the x spot and then take the opposite, it was positive. The opposite of positive is a -3.
okay.
So anytime that up here, anytime that this goes like this means I want the opposite value of x.
Okay.
So if x is positive, then make it negative. If x is negative, make it positive.
Okay.
Okay?
And then if it's positive, if it's like a positive X,
Yeah.
Y, that means
Like
it's the
this,
same.
just it's whatever it was.
Okay.
Whatever it was. Yep. Okay. All right. Let's just take a few minutes. Erase your boards. Okay. Erase your boards, and who got the boards? Put those away.
Can we throw?
And then who got the pins? Get the pins back. You want to do the Kleenexes? That's fine. I'm gonna leave it going for a little bit.
Oh, thanks, Carly.
You're ready.
What?
What time is it though?
Kitchen.
And see, Jack.
You're welcome. What time do we get out of here?
52. I'm hustling.
7 minutes.
Thank you, Carly.
Okay. So we'll just leave it going so Greeley can hear this. Turn to page 71. Page 71, you can label your paper. We're going to start with number 5. You can do it all on graph paper if you want, or you can do part of it on graph paper. Not the whole thing needs graphed, so it's your wish, whatever you want to do.
Make it so.
This assignment?
What's that?
Assignment? Or
Yes, this is assignment. Okay, would you read the directions 5, 6, and 7, Gigi?
identify the type of
Yep.
rigid transformation shown as reflection, translation, or rotation.
Okay. Rigid just means the translation. I didn't really define it because they're all going to be the same. So, okay. So take a look at the two, I don't know what you call those, on number 5.
Diamonds?
Okay.
How is it?
I'm not sure what they are.
Oh,
Alright, number 5.
Sorry.
Is that a translation, reflection, or rotation?
It's a reflection.
Translation.
It actually can be all three. Now, I could see how you got translation and I could see how you got rotation. But the reflection is not something I showed you, but I will allow it because it is actually a reflection over a diagonal line, and it's not shown there.
1, 2.
Okay? But I can't dispute it if you would put it because it mathematically is correct. So you can actually have any answer.
Yes, you
That's
can't
pretty
get
sweet.
number 5 wrong.
Well, not unless you put dog down or something like that.
Oh.
Okay.
Dog.
Number 6, what is that one?
Reflection.
Utan says it's a
It
reflection.
is.
Yeah.
Okay? Alright, that one is definitely a reflection.
Could that one be more than one?
No.
Oh.
7, Bo, what do you think that one is? And this one cannot be more than one.
That's a translation.
That is not a translation.
It's a rotation.
That's a rotation.
Oh, I see.
Because a translation, yeah, it has that rotated part, so that's rotation. Alright, number 8.
Yes, but how many degrees is rotated?
No, you do not, unless you feel you want to. Okay. Number 8, chess. When we're playing chess, what kind of transformation as when we move a piece? Jaws.
Slide, or translation.
It's a translation, it's simply a slide. isn't it? You take a piece and you slide it, right?
Yep.
All right. What about a steering wheel, CJ, on a car?
Rotation.
It's a rotation. That's right. All right, 10, 11, and 12, 13. Those are the ones you're going to do on your graph paper. Please make a different axis for each one, okay? And you graph the original, you graph the pre-image, then you graph the image and label it in prime.
Yep.
Okay? 14 and 15 and 16, you have a one-word answer. Those are kind of wild. You find the triangle on that picture that they say, then you find the new triangle, and you decide whether they took the old triangle and got a rotation, a reflection, or a translation to get the new triangle. And so it's a one-word answer. So your assignment for page 71, due Monday, is 5 through 16. Not very many, and we've done most of them. So your assignment, you want to get a spot on this, is page 71, is it? 71, what did I say, 5 through 16. Due Monday, but we've done a lot of them. The ones we haven't done is the one you have to grab. What's wrong? Did you zero in?
Yeah.
I just zoomed in and
zoomed
it was
on
just-
your- on that big bold spot.
We don't need to hear that.